All right, hi. I wanted to talk a little bit about some cool features that organizations take great advantage of and find very useful in their day-to-day work, those being how service requests are recorded and handled, and a couple different situations, a couple different solutions that we use with organizations to help make their daily work flow better and get more done in their days. The first one being service requests in general in the service request portal, which is part of AssetWorks software, and how we allow organizations to handle items as they come up, as they need to be identified, worked with, reported, fixed. And service requests have a very unique way of going about the who, the what, and the where of how an asset or something needs to be worked with. And of course, this is there's a couple different ways within service requests that can be handled. The main usage, of course, is for internal use for members of an organization, employees that are able to identify and report things that are going on. They see that a particular asset, an asset being something that has recorded value, that is being tracked within the system, that they can say, hey, I am already logged into the system, I'm reporting this for myself, or I'm reporting this on behalf of somebody, and they can assign it to a person within the system for a record keeping, but then going from there and saying what is going on, or what is the asset that needs help with. And that's where it gets a little bit unique, is they need to understand and know the system well enough to go in and identify what it is, but it's very specific to an asset. And that plays into the where portion of what is going on in a service request as well, because if you have a stationary asset that's not going anywhere, by just selecting and saying, hey, this HVAC system with a unique asset ID, it has a location stored against it, so it knows all that information and can record against that. That's just one example, but being able to do a service request that ties to an asset directly can then be tied, in work orders and things within the system are all created together, and it provides a very clean and accurate way to track things and historically through the system as they go. I'll take that and say another layer to that is there of course the capabilities to make a version of this available to general public. Of course, they're not going to know the same amount of knowledge, but there is also the opportunity to make that available to more than just internal staff in different situations where it makes sense for an organization to do. Property service requests, we took a little bit different perspective or use case workflow for these, in that we'll use a building as a good example for this. It's more about knowing the location and drilling down that way than knowing the exact asset. So take, for example, a janitorial staff, or someone who's not in a building on a regular basis, coming in and noticing that something needs to be done, that instead of relying so much on the knowledge of the asset, just being able to drill down to the location of what's going on. So I'm in building A on floor 3 in room 307, and the vent on the wall is falling off, right? So they can go in, and it's more based on location and proximity of what's happening, and then you can fill in and just say what is going on. Now you can, within this and some of the expansions I've gone on here, which makes sense and can be built out as much as any organization wants to do, but being able to say if they are in building A and on floor 3, then here are the typical things that they should be able to choose from as going on, because we know in the system right there. So you have the flexibility to get drilled down, but you don't need to know the asset, and you don't have to tie it to an asset, which does allow that flexibility for, again, like a janitorial staff to just say, hey, bathroom on the 3rd floor is out of toilet paper. Or it doesn't even have to be a janitorial staff. It could be anybody that's an internal member that's like, hey, I can get in there and I can report this to there. So we've taken a couple perspectives here with how service requests are being done. One that is very much tied to the asset and the asset ID, to allow for very succinct work to be done around that asset and the service requests that go along with it. And then we of course got the property service requests where it's more location based, where it is, hey, I am in this building and on this floor, and I can either choose from a drop down of pre-populated identifiers of what's going on, or I can fill in the blank and say that, again, the bathroom is out of toilet paper in stall 3. So there's a couple of different ways, and we found these to be very successful for organizations to really streamline processes, be able to stay up to date, and the turnaround time, right? More than anything else is most important in these organizations is being able to have something identified and to have action happen against it. And being able to use these workflows really, from the feedback we're getting, is really help them increase efficiencies and be able to deliver better and keep things better maintained in general, and just know what's going on. So definitely something, if you're not utilizing to the capabilities you want to, or are interested in being able to do something like this with your organization and the different assets and facilities that you work with, that this might be something to reach out to some of our experts at AssetWorks and find out more.